Hello and welcome to the Watchin It podcast. On today's show, Robert gray lists the blacklist. Donnell discovers menial tasks are pretty fun when they're supernatural. And on Daredevil, Matt, it's going to be a long day. You should probably have that cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Donnell. With me, as always, is Robert. If you're new to the podcast, we basically just dive into different TV shows and movies, give our breakdowns of the episodes and at what we think about it, and just kind of do that. It's a lot of fun.
Well said,
Robert.
Well said, Donnell.
Thank you. Say, Robert. We got
What?
Daredevil.
Born
episode, again. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Daredevil, Born Again, episode 9.
Straight to hell.
Man, let's get into it because
Okay.
it was something. It made me realize something. I mean, it's one of the things I guess they told us from the get-go, but I was like, this episode finally solidified to me. So I was like, yeah, I guess I can't really be upset with them for being like, this is just this whole season is just a setup
For season 2.
yeah.
And it's stupid what's going to happen in season 2.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that.
Yes. But I was like, the name is Daredevil Born Again. And it's sort of seen. I knew halfway through this is what we were doing, but I still was holding out hope. And now it's just like, no. And like I said, I can't be mad. They named the show Daredevil Born Again. So what did you expect it was going to be? Anyways.
So this starts out 1 year ago with Vanessa hiring Bullseye. He is in a mental institution, a mental hospital of some sort with a bunch of pills and all that. We don't really know how he got there.
Don't know how he
criminally
got there.
Insane of some sort.
Yep.
She has had him released somehow.
Yep. I mean, that's not too unbelievable with the amount of power the Fisk have in the city, and as long as that mental institute is in New York, I'm like, yeah, I can believe that. But yeah, basically, he seems very reluctant and which may explain why he tried to kill him, but very much like anti-Fisk. He's made it clear that he sees Fisk as rightly so. I imagine Bullseye before Fisk. I mean, he was still a criminal, but wasn't running into Daredevil on the regular basis. He very much. It seems like he pins his current predicament on Fisk a lot. But yeah, Vanessa makes it clear, we're not working with Fisk. This has nothing to do with him. I just need you to kill Foggy and his client.
Yeah. We get some scenes with we get a recap of him getting shot.
Yep.
Then it's him in the hospital. Mm-hmm. He wakes up. He's immediately like, I got to get to Foggy's notes. I got to do this. And they're all like, dude, you got shot.
Yeah.
Just chill out.
Yeah.
Lay back. Mm-hmm. Recover. We'll deal with all that later.
Yep.
Heather's there.
Yeah. I saw this article and I agree with him more. Like, Heather is, especially now that Karen's back in the picture at the end of this episode and season.
Is she? I don't think she is.
Okay.
She's in this episode. Yeah. But there's a scene when they're searching through the files. And he's like, glad to have you back. And then she doesn't answer.
Yeah, she doesn't answer.
She's just here for the moment. Then she's going to take off again, I think.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Still, either way, like, just realizing that Heather is literally, and they usually call this, but this is not the same thing because he's not just saving her. But, like, I forget what they call it, but where, like.
Love triangle?
No, not love triangle, where a character, usually a female, is introduced just to be a plot element. And. Usually it's just to be like, okay, like how Mario always says Princess Peach. And for the longest time, Princess Peach had no further development other than she's there for Mario to save. And that's what Karen is, except she's not there for him to save. She's just there to move the plot of Fisk and him along, and she serves no other purpose. Like, I just realized we get no deeper real connection to her, and so much about her doesn't make sense in real. Like, if this was real life and she was a real person who was dating a guy who got shot, the way she responds does not make sense in real life. Like, just like in real life circumstances, like, no, people wouldn't do that or stuff like.
Well, she's basically checked out of this whole episode, like until the very end, where Fisk makes her the commissioner of public health.
Yeah, like, I think that's one of the biggest things is how pro Fisk she is out of nowhere. And how anti-vigilante she is out of nowhere, and how also, like, it's just like she's just there to be kind of a counterfoil to Matt Murdock, like, and to be a opposition of, well, he likes her, but now she's on the side of Fisk, or she's been on it a little bit, and it's just like, yes, he has no deeper anything to her. Where it's like she's not even really a character. She's
I
a
mean,
plot
that's the whole
point.
thing, and she should be. And this was a badly developed relationship throughout the whole show. I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't get any chemistry from them. And this is
It's
not just
gotten
like
worse.
some random like psychotherapist.
Yeah.
She's like a big deal. She's got
Book
books out.
tours and
She's got people coming up to her asking for help. She's the therapist to the mayor. Like she's a strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
That should have had more of a role in this and would not put up with the BS of Murdoch. Like
exactly. And
I mean, it was just too rushed. If I was like, oh, they've been together for several years and like all this stuff, then maybe she's more likely to stick around with him for the hard times.
Yeah.
But based on this, if I'm like get to the ball and he doesn't show on time and he's kind of been a bitch.
Yeah. And
lately, I'm just like, it's over.
And
it's
especially
done.
after
I'm
the
bigger
ball
than
where
this.
he just keeps blatantly.
Also, she's like mega hot.
Yeah.
Like she's got dozens or hundreds of suitors. Yeah. Like she is not. Yeah, she's not.
I'm just like this.
She's drowning. She's drowning.
Yeah. So I'm just like, this character just makes no sense, and then literally is just here to be a plot point. And like, it's
but
just,
I guess in the comic books, that's like a major love interest or something.
Okay.
And whatnot. So it's like a a mainstay that they're supposed to get together. Again, I still held out the hope that we should have gotten her out of the way.
Yep.
Ignored that part of the comics.
Yep.
Everybody loved She-Hulk and Daredevil. No reason you couldn't have kept that going in some form or fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lawyers by day, heroes by night. Come on, why can't we do that?
Yeah. Something else by late night. They could have. That is something I would have had them explore.
And I feel like Murdoch is secure enough in his masculinity that he'd be perfectly fine with She-Hulk carrying him into the bedroom.
That's right. That's right. You don't need the cane, baby. So yeah, while they're doing this hospital stuff, we intermix scenes of Fisk, one with Victoria, where they're having a drink and whatnot, and he talks about, hey, we could launder millions.
Yeah,
as being in the crime now that I'm
billions,
mayor, we can.
Billions.
No, we could when you were in criminal.
Millions.
They could when they were criminals.
Yeah.
Now that he's the mayor criminal, they can launder billions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we kind of finally get the okay, but he also then says a line that makes me think maybe not, because it's like we finally get the okay, so this is what Fisk had planned all along. So I think this is the whole mayor game. But then right after that, he says to Vanessa, well, I got into this to save the city, but now opportunities have presented themselves. I'm just like, wait, what? Like, I always saw this as big kingpin picture. Like he has a plan.
This is just normal, like big-headed tech bro stuff. It's like we can do well by doing good.
Yeah.
It's like we can make a lot of money while we're being a benefit to society.
Oh, no, not that.
Like that.
I mean, as we see their bigger plan, it has nothing to do with that and everything to do with, apparently this port is completely unsanctioned and then you can do whatever the hell you want. Yeah.
We'll talk about
but anyways,
that.
So we see him with Vanessa, and then we also see Fisk meeting with his I don't know,
his
inner
team.
Circle. His inner circle.
He's big mad. He's big mad. And,
I gotta say, this episode, and definitely, I this whole season I was kind of back and forth with him. I was understanding him more, but after this episode, I'm like, nah,
it just goes off the rails.
Well, yeah, but I was like, I like the Daniel character, and he's fitting in well with being the little toady, but slowly he's getting more confident in being like having power, and I'm like, yeah, no, this guy works. I mean, he's a deuce. He's a deuce, but he works. He
totally becomes like second to Hitler.
Yeah.
In this by the end of this episode.
Third. I always see Buck as number 2.
No, Buck is like the head of the SS. Where it's like, the Daniel's part, the head of his political wing.
True. Yeah.
I don't know all the Nazi terminology, but big parallels. So this is where it goes off the rails for me.
This is where it goes off the rails.
He orders the sealing of the city and a 8 p.m. curfew.
Yep.
In New York City. Not a chance in hell. That would cost the country, the world, trillions of dollars a day.
Yeah.
You cannot. New York is the city that never sleeps for a reason, and the deals really get done at 1 a.m.
Yep.
The government. I'm like, oh, he's trying to be like authoritarian. Right. He's trying to be like fascist, authoritarian over the city in New York. I'm like, well, there's the state, and then there's the Fed.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna put up with this. Fisk.
Yeah.
They are going to rain hellfire on you whether the commissioner goes to Albany or not.
Exactly. And it's one of those things that was like, it's the two things of like, yeah, there's the you said the governmental side of all this, and then once again, and this is the issue with that I mean ever since the beginning of the MCU, I always bring it up, and I understand that we just got to suspend our disbelief, but it's really hard with this Daredevil one because of how many people would be involved with New York. But it's just like
it would take you
Fisk
decades to build up the infrastructure and power base to pull something like this off.
Yeah.
To shut down New York City, the most important city in the world, one may say.
Yep.
Like the world watches.
Yeah. Well, so that's
something happens in New York.
I was about to say, because you're like, yeah, that would never happen. I was about to say, well, I don't know. We kind of have an example of this happening. I'm like, yeah, but that was also when we literally had shut down the world economy because the trade center had been blown up. So I'm like, yeah, no, you need something of that gravity in order to have any chance of being able to say, maybe we should shut down New York. Like, it's like, yeah, no.
You have to have an event like that.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. It's like a mayor almost getting assassinated. Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close. Yeah. New York will move on. They will write that off and be like, keep it moving, people. Keep it trucking.
That money's got to keep flowing.
I'm like, you need literally economy destroying out of this world event to happen.
At most, they're going to make
before New York slows
at most,
down.
They would, if he got killed, the most they would do is say a prayer before the opening bell on the New York Stock Exchange and then move on.
Yep.
Okay, it's like, oh my God. So he also during this orders the killing of Buck. Or sorry, he orders Buck to kill Murdoch.
Once him killed. I like how Buck's like this could be a problem in Stephanie. I like how Buck or not. Kingpin is like, no, I see how we could spin this because, like, yeah, no one else, like, yeah, if people knew that he was Daredevil and he saved the mayor / Kingpin, yeah, that's problematic if you want to get rid of vigilantes. But as long as you keep Matt Murdock just simply a lawyer with a really good timing, like, that just will help you out even more. Vigilante killed this good lawyer, like, you know, Matt would get a day or a parade or something. Like Fisk would do it up big just to really rub it in. But anyways,
so Buck, he goes to the hospital where Murdoch is.
This is where so Daredevil is, it's always one of those characters like, he doesn't have superpowers other than like his heightened hearing and reflexes, but even that is explained, like he doesn't have like official superpowers like anything. It's just he's highly, just like, it's like a Batman, a Punisher, highly trained. And then this scene happens, which there's other scenes. So that it's just like, I get we have to have suspension of belief to some degree because it's a blind man who can, fight better than anybody you can see. But I do not know how he got out of this room. That Buck was like, Buck goes to kill him. He's standing we see Matt in the room. As far as most hospital rooms have one door in or out. We see that Matt is in the room, in the bed. Buck is outside the only door into the room. Buck goes into said door to kill Matt Murdock. Matt Murdock's not in bed, and then in bed. And next thing you know, we see him sneaking out of the hallway. And I was like, what? I'm just like, how did he get out of the room?
I took it as he left the room before Buck showed up.
Maybe.
That's how I saw the timeline going.
Well, the only reason why I struggle with that, and I mean, I guess maybe he could hang out in the hallway, but I also feel like Buck, like, while he's not like, he's a very efficient sort of guy. I feel like he would have scanned and looked around. Like the fact that is the next scene is we see him hobbling off down the hallway, and then like literally a few seconds later, Buck comes out of the room, looking around, meaning that he was still in the area. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they make it seem like he was around when Buck was there, I guess. And I'm just like, I don't know.
I've got problems. So first, you're going to send Buck alone, knowing this man is Daredevil, to take him out. That's a stupid move. You're going to have to send a team. Right? Secondly, how did they orchestrate a blackout? And when the blackout happens, I'm like, close curtain on the rest of the episode. That's the whole thing. It's just going to be
I thought the blackout was
all the vigilantes and superheroes.
The hero. I mean, it was just the hospital. And I was like, okay, we might be able to get away with that. But when they...
No, it's a whole
That's
city,
what I'm saying. When they zoom out and show the whole city of New York going dark, I'm like, excuse me?
Just like... Miss Marvel's coming across the bay. Spider-Man's out there. Hawkeye's out there. It's a make or break moment. The whole city shuts down and comes together.
And that's such my issue with this episode. And I know, like I said, I know one is would cost way too much money, especially for a last minute scene. I think, but when he says, and I was like, it would still be frustrating, but that's the only way he could partially redeem this is when he says, "We're going to need an army," and then it shows him at the bar.
Oh, I was so disappointed.
I was like, and the bar is Spider-Man and Miss Marvel and
Hawkeye,
right?
Yeah,
because that's like they would. That's the only that makes sense. And when it's just a couple, rogue cops and stuff, I'm just like, no, this is the city of New York literally went black for black for a night. Chaos reigned supreme. A rogue cop force infiltrated multiple places, and so there's been a bunch of murders. I mean, yes, predominantly by Punisher, but still, there's been a bunch of murders. Every hero who calls New York home. Is in town going, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, where's Luke Cage?
Where's Luke Cage? Where's Jessica Jones? Where's Iron Fist? Where's Spider-Man? Where's Hawkeye? Where is anybody who's walked, any of the Marvel heroes who's walked through New York in the past couple of years? I'm just like, what the heck? But anyways, back to where we were at. My other thing is also, I'm just like, not to be this guy, but Buck is very much a part of, like, we know, of course, he's a part of Fisk or the kingpin side of things. Like, he is very much a criminal stuff. But Buck has been in meetings. He's been in television views. He is a known part of the mayor's inner
he's not
circle.
A shadow guy.
And so for him to walk into a hospital, go into a room, and then but just start connecting and go into a room, and then all of a sudden Matt Murdock's dead. It's like, that's a little. You send a random dude, a guy no one knows. You hire a specialist who is an unknown but is good at cloak and dagger stuff, and you don't send your guy who's literally standing behind you at all the press events to go take out.
No, the Buck character. Your fixer does not get within a mile of City Hall.
Yeah, exactly.
He's never on camera.
Exactly. Like, if Buck is going to be your fixer or that guy, then he should not have any official position in the mayor office. But it's clear he does, because he's at every public event and every major event. And I'm just like, no. You two should never be seen together again after you got elected. You talk to him on the phone. And a disposable phone at that.
I question how Murdock gets back to his apartment in his
hospital
gown.
Yeah,
without anybody being during a blackout.
Yep.
Without anybody being like, "You need some help, buddy."
Yep.
Like,
"Are you okay? What's going on?" Yeah.
Just random guy in a hospital gown, wandering around.
Yeah, wandering around the streets,
into things,
bleeding from a chest wound.
Yeah. But the Punisher is there.
I do love. I kind of thought it was gonna happen, but I do love the whole, because I was like, somebody's in his place. I'm like, it's got to be the Punisher. And then, like, when he sits down at first and doesn't say, and then he's like, didn't expect you to be here. He's like, I love that interaction where it's just like, he knows you're there the whole time. And then, but I also like the Punisher isn't surprised, because, like, he knows what's up. So he's like, of course. I'm going to let him do his dramatic thing and sit on the couch.
But
sorry. I was just gonna say, I really do like what they've done with these two characters and their relationship. Their difference in philosophy doesn't stop them from being somewhat allies, but also like you can tell there's a mutual respect. They both respect each other, but they both very much class and don't agree with how they handle things. But it doesn't. Their relationship is very genuine for who these characters are.
Yeah, I like it. I like their relationship. But I'm glad they brought him back, not for what happens next, unfortunately. So the task force raids Murdock's place.
Yep.
And they get into a big fight.
Yep.
This is like the fight.
Yes.
And they mess it up. So I like the juxtaposition of Frank Punisher killing everybody left and right. Daredevil trying to stop him while doing his own fights and stuff. But then, like, very quickly into it, they go slow-mo. On everything for the whole fight for no reason. I'm like, that is not the Daredevil brand. No. It needs to be fast and brutal and harsh. And if we want, we can rewind it and watch the killing again. Yeah. You don't need to do anything in slow-mo. It really messed up the whole the whole scene.
I will say this episode, I mean, I've said this a few times, but I think this will be the last time I say it, because I think this episode finally was like, okay, I got you. I can believe it now. Even though we've already had the the Deadpool movie and some other stuff, but that Disney is fully allowing Marvel to be like, hey, kid gloves are off. If you need to, do what you, because I will say it is visceral. There's like a few scenes. This scene, and then when Fisk is killing it gets really visceral and graphic.
That I didn't even think about. That didn't even click in my head that like this is a Disney property when Fisk literally slow motion crushes a man's skull with his bare hands.
Jaw.
And they do not cut away.
They do not. I thought they were. I was like, here we go. And even still, I still would have been like, hey, Disney's still out there. But the fact that they do not cut away, I was like, well, damn. I was like, I'm no longer, I'm still worried for other elements of how they do it, but I'm no longer worried about Disney pulling the punches on like when the Wolverine shows up, or if we ever get that Blade movie. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna do like I'm not one of the people. Because like I'm not I don't like violence for violence sake and stuff, and I'm not one of the people. There's some people out there, as soon as they started doing, like when Deadpool first came out, like, oh, we got a rated R hero movie, maybe the next Batman will be rated R. It's like, why would it need, like, yeah, there are certain villains that if you're making a movie about with Batman, you might want to go rated R, but overall I don't think Batman needs to be rated R. But there are also certain heroes like the Punisher, like Wolverine, like Deadpool, and like Blade, that's like, yeah, if you're gonna make a movie about them, that's going to need to be R.
Yeah, Batman has never been hyper violent. In that way.
That's
like,
why it's about the
gory violent.
It's about the villain he's facing. That's why I say there's
certain
certain
it's about
villains.
The mystery and him being the world's greatest detective.
Yeah,
or at least that's what it should be. I mean, there are a few of his rogues gallery that are vicious,
and that's why I'm saying that
gory psychopaths.
Depending
but
on which villain he's fighting,
Yeah.
I could see it. Like, I'm not opposed to a Batman rated R movie if there's a reason for it. But if he's just squaring off against Two-Face, why? Sort of thing. And then there's no reason for there to ever be a rated R Superman. It's like Superman's not, even though he's one of the strongest people in the universe, if not or the strongest, like he's also he's not about ultra violence. So there's no reason to do that. So it's like, yeah, I'm not all for violence for violence sake, but I will wholeheartedly say there's just certain heroes, Punisher being one of them. I was like, you can't PG-13 this, folks. You can't. You gotta gotta let it go. Yep. And I'm glad that Disney is like, yeah, we can't PG-13 this, so Marvel have at it. And damn, did they have at it in this episode.
I love the trust from Frank when he's like, grenade.
Yeah.
And just like, I'm just leaping off this 7-story building with the blind guy.
Well, it's one of the things I was like, technically, they could have, because they knew that the hit squad was there. And if they really wanted to, I don't know, like, of course, Frank wasn't for this, but if they really wanted to avoid violence, they could have left before they got there. But then I was like, yeah, but there's like, I totally agree with you. It's trust, but it's also situational trust of like, not that he wouldn't trust him in this other situation. He just, his manhood wouldn't allow him to be like, you want me to jump off a roof and you catch me. You want me, like, if it was just like not an emergency, I'm like, I see Frank be like, nah, bro.
They
the fact that the grenade's going off,
they didn't even have to jump off the side. Okay. Like when he says the task force is coming, he's still in his gown.
Mm-hmm.
He has to go to his special place up on the roof, his secret closet.
Yep,
get a suit. I'm just like, Frank, come with me. We're gonna go hide in the closet.
Yeah,
they'll just leave once they realize I'm not here.
Yeah, but I'm just like, Frank trusts him 100%, and it's nice to see. But I'm like, but if there wasn't a grenade about to go off, I feel like Frank would be like, hold up.
Yeah.
But also MCU, and this is not just them, but joining in with the rest. I mean, they of course are just that for some reason that cars are just like fluffy pillows to fall on when you fall out of a seat.
Oh yeah,
that's such a movie trope that makes no sense.
Crumple zones, Donnell. Crumple.
Yeah, they crumple all right, and you might not die, but you don't get up and walk away, and make some snarky comment, and then get in Karen's car.
Sidebar about crumple zones is so there's a joke in Back to the Future Part 3, where they're flying in the car. No, part two definitely. And they're in the DeLorean and they're flying over the like 1950s 55 Chevy whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't we just land on top of him? And he's like, he's in a 1955 blah blah blah. We're in a 1980s DeLorean. That thing would cut us open like we were aluminum foil. I recently saw a YouTube video that showed a modern car being crash tested into a 50s car.
Yeah.
No, that DeLorean would have shredded that 1950s car. Built them like they used to? I don't think so.
Yeah.
It would just get destroyed. It does not have like hollow tube framing and all like modern cars do. Like it's different story.
Well, that's the they always talk about modern cars and how like, oh, they're not even made out of steel and metal anymore. It's all this fiberglass and stuff. I'm like, well, yeah, but that's because like technically it's better to like when we made cars out of steel metals, like people got scrambled in car accidents because there was no give, and so it's like all that impact goes into your body, not into the frame of the car. And so it's like, modern cars do fall apart comparatively to older cars.
We also figured out how to make that fiberglass stronger than steel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like, no, what doesn't fall apart that did fall apart in older cars? The human inside the car. So I'm just like, that's the alternative. I'd rather my car shatter into a billion pieces if I'm alive.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Like expensive brakes in racing are made out of? Ceramic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the wheels are made out of? Not fiberglass, but what's the other thing? Carbon fiber.
Oh yeah.
The wheels are carbon fiber.
Yep.
Not metal.
Yep.
It's
extremely light but extremely durable.
Yeah. As long as you don't mess it up, it's fine. If it gets messed up, it's in trouble. But until then, it's stronger.
Yep.
Anyway, back to our regular schedule thing. They get down from the building. Karen arrives and picks them up, takes them back to Frank's place where they're getting patched up, talking about the Foggy case. And then, they're like, okay, let's go and look into the Foggy case. Yeah. At which point I wrote in my notes, this should have been the 4th episode.
Yeah. This is
no reason we needed the 2-year gap.
Nope.
This cut out most of this season.
Yes.
Just Yeah.
No, I completely agree.
Right
I'm like, we're just getting to. We spent so much of this season, like, with setup, and I actually, with the way the season ends,
the whole season was set up.
Yeah, with the way the season ends and how they're handling everything, it makes me even more annoyed about how they handled Muse too. Because almost just like Karen, he was just a plot point to get to the next part in the story, not like an actual character with anything to it. And it's just like, yeah, you just wasted one of what could have been the cooler villains for Daredevil to face off against. I mean, yes, everyone knows Daredevil and Fisk have history and they're always going to fight each other, but it's like, that's why, everyone knows Batman fights Joker, but I like to see him go up against Two-Face and other people sometimes too. And it's like, that's one thing with Daredevil, it's almost always Fisk and Bullseye. So it's like, it was kind of cool to like, ooh, we're bringing in somebody else. And they're like, yeah, but he's not really gonna matter, and he's dead now. And guess what? It's Fisk and Bullseye again. I'm just like, for crying out loud. It looked interesting. I feel like that's just wasted. And the way the season ends is like, yeah, they really just wasted that character for no reason.
Yeah. We get this awesome council meeting where Daniel taking names.
Yeah. I just love how he's like, yeah, that'd be insane. He's like, I forgot, like, deputy director, something, insane. He's like, what? I just love the guys. But yeah, I love Daniel sitting there and Buck is back behind him. And you just, like I said, you see, I see those like Fisk's 2 right-hand men. And like, you could just tell, like, it's like, yeah, Daniel's like, threatening the whole like legal side of things, but Buck's just there like as like, and I'll kill you afterwards. Just kind of like
again, I mean it's fun. Yeah, and I like the Daniel character and his progression. Yes. Maybe the only person who really progressed through the show. But like again, this is something that would take decades to get that kind of pull and fear, right? Because I'm assuming the council can just vote the mayor out. Yeah, they have some power to just kick him out or something.
Yep,
like. Just be like, no, this is unacceptable.
But yeah, Daniel had
like he would have to have
blackmail on them.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but like he would need like kingpin loyalist.
Yeah,
making up 51% of the council first.
Yeah, before
being able to get away with any of this stuff that he's wanting to get away with. I really hate this like BB. We get a BB scene.
Yeah.
The BB broadcasting whatever thing.
The BB report.
Showing all this looting happening. I'm like, I'm sorry. That is not what happens.
Yep.
Looting happens during riots, and it happens during natural disasters because people want food.
Yep.
Not electronics. That's what in the natural disasters, they loot food and water.
Yep.
You know what happens during blackouts and most natural disasters? The whole city becomes brotherly love, comes together, passing out water, making people are sheltered, getting them food. You know how I know that? Because it happened in New York. and everybody came together and helped everybody out. There was no massive looting and all this stuff, and police didn't have to crack down.
Yeah.
Everybody came together to take care of themselves.
That's the thing that actually probably makes it, is the fact that it's the BB report that's reported, not some other news outlet. Because, like, like I said, with, real life stuff with how Fox News spins everything. Like, if it was just another news broadcast that's in Fisk's pocket, which I know that BB is kind of, but I feel like she wouldn't, I don't know, It's very weird, that it was her.
It's just it has nothing to do with the character. It is just bad writing.
Yeah.
Untruthful writing on behalf of the writing staff of the show.
Yeah.
To get meta with it. They just, let's show a bunch of looting during the blackout.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happens.
No.
That's not what happens. It didn't happen in New York. It didn't happen in LA.
Yep.
When they're blackouts, people come together.
Yep.
They don't do those things.
Yep.
And it's just bad. But my other question is, what again are the other heroes doing during the blackout?
I was thinking,
why are they not out there helping?
Like I said, the big MCU question has always been, when they do a single Hulk movie or Thor movie, is where is everybody else? But you can almost hand away some of that with, the Avengers are a global thing, and yes, Thor's over here, but guess what? Captain America was needed in Paraguay today, so sorry, can't show up to help. So I'm like, fine, but with Daredevil being solely New York, and then also just the number of heroes / vigilantes in New York comparatively to anywhere else, I'm just like, I'm sorry. This is, and especially with how many of these heroes / vigilantes are more what they call street level. Like, of course, Spider-Man is in the bigger picture, but right now, Daredevil and a lot of his similar people are street level vigilantes. So they're not running off to go fight Thanos. They're staying home. And so I'm just like, where's Kate Bishop? Where is Miss Marvel? So yes, Miss Marvel has been to space, but she's still street level in my opinion. She just got dragged into a bigger conflict.
Yep.
She's going to be doing bigger things in the future, but as it stands right now, she's still street level hero. Where's she at? I'm just like,
wasn't she putting together a team?
Yep.
That we just haven't gotten to yet? Is it going to take her 10 years to put together a team?
No. I actually, there's been some movement on that. There's been a new update on that.
Yes, but it should be up already. Like, they should already exist.
Yeah.
And then you can give them their show or movie or whatever they're going to get, the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
But
no, depending on how much longer it takes, it may not be young anymore.
Her and Kate Bishop should already be hand in hand running around.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying like they're a couple or anything, but just
we know.
Thick as thieves, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, Ant Girl or whatever, she's down in Florida or whatever, Miami. But anyway, other heroes should be doing things during this blackout, and we should be seeing it. Yes.
I want to jump back real quick, actually, because one thing that I just thought about, that grenade solved a lot of problems also back at Murdoch's apartment. Because one thing that happens is, so they're debating whether or not to kill the guy who killed White Tiger. They found him with the Punisher thing. And during that argument, Punisher lets loose a couple blind bastards, or you blind bastard, towards Matt Murdock, who is Daredevil. And I'm like, while you might be able to be like, oh, he's just sort of like, no, you are in a known blind lawyer's house looking for said blind lawyer, and the ally of Daredevil keeps calling him blind. And I'm like, connecting some dots. And I was like, you can't just leave these guys. Like, after that, you kind of gotta kill them. And then when that grenade comes, like, oh, that solves everything. I was like, you've let his identity out of the, like, Punisher, you're letting it slip a little too much. You've let it out of the bag in a room full of, well, not full, most of them were dead, but there were still a couple alive who would all be like, we know who Daredevil is after this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, grenade saves the day. Anyways, back to
it. Also cleaned up a lot of mess they made, burning down the apartment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get Karen and Murdoch going through the files about Foggy's stuff. They finally find his file and find out that Red Hook, where the port that they're wanting to build is what's called a free port.
Yep. No jurisdiction, apparently.
So it's supposed to be, technically, legally gray area outside the United States.
Yep.
A place where it's basically importing things.
Yeah.
But in order to leave the free port, you got to go through customs.
Yep.
Right. That's how it works.
Yep.
This would not exist.
No, not at all.
People would know this existed.
Yeah. That's what I was like. Fisk, because that's basically what we find out is Foggy wasn't even directly in a case against the Fists. It was just that he had discovered on his case that it was a free port, and so he was going to use that to get his client off. That was the whole thing. He wasn't even doing it to get at the Fist. They just like, whoa, if he lets it out that this is a free port, people are going to do something about it. They're going to know about this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this would not be the Fisk's little secret.
It's crazy to me,
like
on so many levels, right? Because first, it's crazy to me that there would be port area, like waterfront property, in the New York region that would not be developed, or that would be so run down that it's basically just a toxic trash pile, which is what it is, right? You know, in the show. But also, like, there are hordes, there are state and city and county level people in the real world, hundreds of them, if not thousands, dedicated to chronicling the history and mapping.
That's why I'm like, this would not be a secret that only the Fisk know about.
Yeah, this would this would be some archaic thing that like just slipped through the cracks.
Like, not to be that guy, but like, you killed, like, in real life, you killed Foggy for no reason, because I guarantee there's a lot more people who know about this place.
And how does Fisk and Vanessa know?
Yeah.
Like,
how
what's
do
their
they find
secret?
out about it?
Is this like a secret criminal thing that's been passed down over hundreds of years? This is the Freeport. And nobody knows about it except us criminals. And it's like, that's why we do our secret meetings here, because when the cops come, we're like, Freeport.
Yeah, Freeport. But anyway, so they head off for there. Frank heads off there before him because he had one of the cop radios. At first I was having an issue with this fight that Frank gets into, but then I remember that the cops said non-lethals only, because I was about to say, I want to know what's the difference between Frank's bulletproof and the cops' bulletproof, because they shoot Frank a couple times and he keeps going, and Frank shoots them once or twice and they're down. I'm like, what's going? But I do
love how they've all got the Punisher logo, but his looks so much better, and he's just like, Daddy's home.
But yeah, so Frank gets into a fight with the task force. It's like 1 versus like 20, and he still takes out 11 of them. I'm just like, I mean, yes, they were using non-lethal, but still, I'm just like, yeah, you guys might want to get into training, because Frank's just going to town up in here. But they finally take him down.
We got a brief scene where the commissioner is talking to Sheila. And his like Fisk chief of staff, and he's like, I'm going to Albany. I'm bringing in the feds. I'm bringing in the state. This has got to stop. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's exactly what should happen. It should already be happening. It should just be a phone call.
But
I guess the power's out. Or whatever.
True.
I did not expect Sheila.
Neither
to
did
turn.
I.
That is out of character.
I was shocked, and then I'm still wondering if she did, or if it's someone else. Because we see is Fisk gets a recording on the phone of their conversation. And we also see Sheila crying up against a wall. We don't see that she's clearly in the room. And because a little bit later, now that the commissioner's out of the way and he has full control of the city, he starts laying out his declaration. And right before it, Sheila's like trying to oppose him still, which I'm like, well, why did you give him the recording if you still want to oppose him? And so that's why I'm like, I could go either way. I could believe either one. Both of them seem weird. But that either A, Sheila gave him the recording, but still opposes him or still is against him, just thought that it was better to give him the recording, or B, Sheila didn't give him the recording, and Fisk is kind of like keeping her around, like, even though she opposes him, like he sees value, or maybe even just to torture her as he watches everything.
No, I think she gave him the recording.
It's just weird.
She's just very conflicted about it and taking it hard.
I guess.
So yeah, we get Frank talking to the task force leader. He's trying to recruit him. He's like, no way. Not gonna do it.
I love how they're like, yeah, we want to be just like you, and Frank's like, you're nothing like me. And like, one thing they kind of leave out is, okay, also Frank doesn't, because like one thing that I was reading was like, people were like, this article was talking about like, why wouldn't Frank embrace the task force? And it's like, well, one is because Frank is when it comes to good and evil, he doesn't do gray. It's black and white. You're either good or you're evil. And so even if you are a cop who's cleaning up the streets, crime, if you're corrupt, that means you're on this black side, so you're not a thing. And another thing is, Frank doesn't want anybody else to be like him. Like, he sees it as this is his burden to bear. The only reason why he and I mean, I think it's one of the reasons why he tries to push Daredevil to kill, though, is he doesn't want anybody else to be like him. But seeing as he sees Daredevil kind of already like him, he doesn't like that Daredevil shows that maybe there's a different way it could be done. Like in his mind, it's like, we have to kill it all, burn it down, and nobody else should be doing this. But Daredevil is doing this, so if he is going to do it, I need him to kill too, so I know I haven't made a mistake by going this far. So it's like, that's why I honestly like with the relationship and all, like his relationship with the task force versus his relationship with Daredevil is like, he accepts Daredevil since he's already doing what I do, but I need you to kill to justify my killing. And then he hates the task force because he's like, no one else should be doing what I'm doing. Yeah. And it's like, well, Punisher is honestly a very interesting character when you dive into him. Like, he's like, a lot of people are like, oh, he's just a violent, ultra violent killer, which yes, he is. But like, there's a lot going on with him when you really dive into him.
Yeah. So we get Daredevil and Karen are at Red Hook.
Yep.
But they decide that they can't rush in. It's too big of a thing. They need an army. They go back and get not an army.
No, they get a couple of cops.
Ridiculous.
We finally get a reason for why they showed us that one Asian lady cop in that one episode to be like, hey, she's one of the good ones.
She showed up in a few places for sure.
Yeah. They're like, she's one of the good ones. But we see her, we see a few other cops, we see his retired cop buddy. Now I can't remember what his name is. But are they implying? I mean, I know they were behind closed doors, but I feel like at least the bar owner, like, are they implying that these people know who Daredevil is, or is it?
I think, definitely Cherry knows.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that he's letting
Cherry
the rest
knows.
of them know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think that the negotiator lady, investigator lady, I don't think she knows who he is, but she's gonna find out here pretty soon. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. No, but like you said, and I said, he should have opened that door. Should have been Jessica Jones.
Yep.
Luke Cage.
And that would have been a hit, man.
Hawkeye. It would have been.
If that door would have opened and we had Luke Cage, it'd be like
season 2, let's go.
Yeah, I would be like, hells yeah. And when it's just a couple random cops, I'm like, what the hell is this? Yeah. You had the perfect setup. I know you're freaking Disney though. You got the money. You can afford to pay these actors to show up for a 5-minute scene. Just do it.
Yeah. Then we get a brief scene where it shows Vanessa and Fisk are in his dungeon lair.
Well, before that, I do want to, before we go there, one is Fisk really picked the wrong color suit to be his motif that he's known for, because he goes through 4 white suits in this episode, and one of them is
he's got them.
Is the commissioner is escorted to a. And at first I was like, I feel like he should be freaking out, but I think he just thought Fisk is just threatening him, not actually going to kill him, because he's escorted to a which would commonly be called a kill room, which is a room with plastic everywhere, covering up everything, where Fisk is there with the task force. Basically, I saw this as a 2 thing. Is like, one is to show the commissioner before he dies. So it's not as big a deal that they're with me now, not with you. And then the other thing is also to make sure everyone who is a part of that task force is loyal. Because he then proceeds to murder the commissioner by brutally crushing his skull and ripping off his jaw.
I loved it.
And I was
that's
like,
just a good demonstration of. I love when they demonstrate the kingpin is. Not a fat slob.
Is a freak of nature.
That is muscle. At the end of the day. No, he is like a sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
That is all muscle.
Yeah. I mean, like in comic book like scaling stuff, like rating stuff, they put Kingpin strength wise on the same level as Captain America. Like,
I can see it. That seems rough, but there's definitely I remember from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon where he gets into a fight with Fisk.
Yeah.
And Fisk grabs him and starts crushing him, and he's like, "I'm not fat. This is muscle."
Yeah. Exactly.
He's somewhat tanking.
Yeah.
Spider-Man just because I'm just really strong.
He's built different.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Fisk and Vanessa,
he's got them gains.
Fisk and Vanessa are having dinner
in his lair / dungeon.
Yep.
And we see a bunch of people in cages, including Jack, our boy Jack.
Yep.
And some other socialites and of that nature. And I'm like, stop.
Yep.
Shut it down.
Yep.
There's 10,000 cops in New York.
Yep.
Okay? You've got maybe 50 of them, 100 of them on your task force.
Yep.
Luigi Mangione killed one guy.
Yep.
And every photo or video you see, he's got 50 cops in tactical gear behind him.
Yes.
You disappear 2 billionaire socialites.
Yep.
Every cop, federal, local, is going to be descending on the city to find them.
Yes.
Okay? You can get rid of as many homeless people as you want, but you touch one rich person.
Yeah.
Shut down the city.
That will get the city shut down.
That's how you get martial law. It's like, we're shutting down the city till we find the rich people.
Yes. Yes.
They pay the taxes. Well, not really. But
yeah, not really. But anyways, so we see everyone culminating with Punisher. So he's still alive, which I'm kind of wondering why. I mean, I know why they want that Punisher special, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, yeah.
I want that Punisher special.
So do I. I'm just saying, like, I don't know why in universe he's still alive, because especially after he turned down the task force, which also, if Punisher would have accepted the task force, I should be like, you can never trust that man. You can if Punisher joins your task force, I'd always be like, he's just waiting to kill us all. You all know that, right? Like, this is all an elaborate plan to kill us all. I'm sorry. But anyways, after he does turn down the task force, like, okay, no more use for Punisher. Time for him to go.
Yeah. I'm sure Fisk in his head sees some use for him later or something like that.
And then we get our only after credit scene.
Mid-credit scene.
Mid-credit scene of the show. I knew it was there because I watched on Disney Plus, and they never do this. Usually just the screen shrinks and like, you can watch this next. But instead it's like this little button like skip credits, and I was like, oh, there's a credit scene. But and this is another thing, I'm like, you know who the Punisher is. There's so much wrong with this. I mean, I want the Punisher to escape, especially since, we need that Punisher special. But I'm like, okay, one is you have this underground wherever lockup. You, even without the Punisher there, but especially with the Punisher there, you do not have one guy guarding this. There is a bunch of guards. Maybe that one guy's walking by, but like as soon as he calls the dude over, first off, there's somebody like, hey, stop that, you idiot, get away from that cave. But if he did walk over and get his arm broken, I feel like there should have been like 20 guys descending on him with shotguns. The Punisher sweet talks the dude because he idolizes him and stuff, and that guy goes to shake his hand, which I'm like, did you not see what he did to all your brethren in 2 different occasions? Do you not see how many people this man of your task force has murdered? And he's like, hey, you want to shake hands? No, I don't want to shake your hand.
Now the question is, so he breaks out, but do you think that Frank lets everybody else out, or do you think he just leaves?
That's where I'm like, I'm like, knowing Punisher, nah, he's out. He's just like, good luck. I feel like I'm not a hero. Out the door he goes.
I feel like Jack would have the skills to break himself out too.
Yeah. And he would free everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm about to say the most I would see the Punisher doing is he might break open some locks, but he's not helping you get out. Like, hey, good luck. And then he leaves of his own volition. Like, so I like the Punisher might open a few cages and be like, you guys sort yourselves out, but he's not leading the people out. He's not come with me.
Oh, let's not even talk about safety. Like that they've captured Jack, and like the cops will be all about it. He has cop friends. He's friends with the cops and firemen larpers. And they got cop friends. It would be over, man. They'd be like, Jack's gone, we gotta find him,
we gotta find
rally
Jack.
the troops.
No.
The show was so stupid.
The kidnapping of the Silicites was definitely like, I feel like you're not gonna get away with that.
And also, how can they pay you? How can they bend the knee if they're stuck in a cage?
Exactly.
It's stupid.
It's bizarre.
This show was bad.
I
mean, I didn't hate watching it.
No.
But it wasn't good. It was just a recap of the last season of Netflix Daredevil.
It was one of the things where just like this. I came into this with such high expectation, and after watching this season, I will say, I mean, not as high expectations. I feel like season 2 could be pretty interesting, but we didn't need this season to get to season 2. We could have easily done
got there very quickly.
Like 1 or 2 episodes, maybe. I think that's all we need.
And they should have cut out Heather.
Yep.
They should have run with the momentum that they had from the Daredevil cameo in She-Hulk.
Yep.
Sure, have Foggy die.
All
that stuff.
That's fine.
But then don't do a 2-year gap.
No.
And all this stuff. Just go into raging Daredevil.
I was about to say, exactly. I don't have Daredevil stop to not be Daredevil for 7 of the 8 episodes, or 7 of the 9 episodes.
And it was like, this was not. I mean, obviously he did the cameos in Spider-Man and She-Hulk.
Yep.
But this was his debut into the MCU.
Yep.
And it was so weak.
Yes.
I'm like, when you get into the MCU, you bring in people.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of being in the multiverse or in the bigger, grander universe is you get to bring in the team ups and the other people. Deadpool knew what he was doing. Deadpool was like, we can bring in anybody we want from the multiverse. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But no, we should, instead of Cherry, we should have Jessica Jones being his PI.
Yep.
We should have had him team up with Miss Marvel after the bank thing.
Yep.
We should have had, Hawkeye show up somewhere.
Like, I really feel like this could have been done as, like, I don't know what I want to call it, like local Avengers or something where like we could have had a pretty
I don't
cool
need him to be hanging out with Thor.
But no, that's what I mean. But we could have had like a pretty cool, and also makes more sense. Show up of there's a lot of New York heroes that let's get them together. Some of the ones from the Netflix, some of the acts, and just bring this together and make it really cool. And instead we got none of that. I mean, except for Punisher, which I'm glad for that. Thank you.
What was the bad show or movie where there was a third Daredevil cameo he fights somebody in the first episode of the show and then doesn't show up again?
Did he show up in Echo? He shows up in
Echo. Yeah. He fights Echo. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so he's there. But so he's made a couple appearances in the MCU, and it's like, we could have gone big with this.
Yeah.
And made, we're bringing in this hero, big fanfare. Let's welcome Daredevil into the MCU with, a bang. You know, and just,
I also think it was a huge mistake not to have the Tracksuit Mafia or whatever. Like, that was Tracksuit Mafia, right?
Tracksuit Mafia.
I think they were there, but they were more serious and not the kind of comic relief that they were in Hawkeye, which is a mistake.
Yeah.
Because bro.
They're
the best.
Yeah.
It could have been, it's just a waste. A waste of time, a waste of possibilities.
Yep. Did you say possibilities?
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
Parmesan.
But this could have been so much more, and that thing is like, and it's not just all the pieces were there.
Yeah,
like it's not like it's like, oh, we're like I said, we saw the Deadpool movie. Like it's not like we're grasping at straws here, but like would it even been possible? It's like I'm pretty sure you could have gotten this all put together.
Yeah,
and what are we doing with Camilla Khan?
I would have loved to have seen the Night Nurse show up. Oh, she was such a good character. Who played the Night Nurse? Oh my God, why can't I think of the actress's name?
I have no idea who played her.
Oh, Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
Night Nurse would have been awesome. Could have shown up in this patch-up scene. Karen could have pulled her in. Oh my God. I mean, we could have had Misty Knight. She's got like a robotic arm, like cop lady.
Yep.
Like she should be in the room in the bar at the end.
Yeah.
It's so many opportunities.
There was opportunities for this to be something special, and it's just more of a meh. Meh. And here we are.
It failed on every level.
Yeah. Which is disappointing.
Misuse of Muse.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There's because my thing is it's like
misuse of Bullseye, in my opinion.
Yeah, true.
Underused.
That's it's just a role he's relegated to in
terrible lawyering. Terrible as a law show.
Yep.
It's just bad.
Yep.
It's just bad.
It sucks a little bit.
I'll watch season 2 when it comes around, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, and I have
the storyline they're setting up for that. I just don't think it works. I think that the world swoops in and says, "No, Fisk.
I mean,
you can't do this."
Yeah, about to say you're like I said that both on the like I said on the actual legal side, like the government's all get involved, and also like I said we've already hit on this, but I'm like. Yeah, and that's the problem with this being a series that takes place over time. Like that's most time with the movies. It's like this is this Thor movie was an event that was 3 days long and then it's over. And the world is saved. But this is obviously being shown. It's taking time. I'm like, you can tell me that Spider-Man and Doctor Strange were out of town when Fisk first got elected, but they're gonna come home at some point. They're gonna be like, hold up, this is a problem. And it's not like they're just gonna go and wait it out. I'm sorry, no. Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, it's done. Like I said, you can only give me the excuse that they were out of town for so long, but it's been months at this point. Like what?
Well, I mean, I think that Doctor Strange has kind of got his own things going on. He kind of went into like some sort of Marmu, death verse, and he might not. He may be being shadow walked or dream walked by evil Strange. I can discount Strange.
Okay, yeah, he might.
And he's not a street level guy.
I'm not saying that. That's what I'm saying. There are a lot of non-street level heroes who call New York home who are still not going to be down with Fisk running everything and turning everything corrupt. And so, I'm just saying, like, yeah, okay. Like I said, I will give you that last time we saw Doctor Strange, he was headed off into another dimension. So I can say that might get you out of town for a couple of years. But Spider-Man, what's he up to? He lives in New York. What's he doing? He's just sitting back watching the corrupt cops terrorize and torture people. And he's just like, well, I got to finish college. I don't know.
All right, we're going too long here. We can't do what we've been watching.
Yeah. It's a finale. It tends to happen.
Hey, if you like the show, you should go check out our website, watchinpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinpodcast@gmail.com. You can also read our blogs that we're posting. Now, hopefully, I'll get something about the Blacklist up. I never actually finished it.
Oh, you didn't?
I got halfway through season 9 and said, you know what? I'm done. I might come back to it and finish it later, but I got better things to watch. The show really ended at season 8 for me.
Yeah.
Should have ended there.
Is it just 9 seasons or
10 seasons?
Okay, so yeah.
No, 9 seasons? No, it's 10 seasons. Whatever. I'm close to the end. It doesn't matter. It ends at season 8 for me.
All right.
I can talk about it in detail on the blog, or maybe at a later date I can talk about it. But to finish up here, what the MCU future? We've got the Thunderbolts.
Yep.
Here next month. We already got our ticket spot.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good. I think the theater's going to be empty because nobody going to the theater this morning these days.
With that. I'm okay with that.
And I thought that we talked about Armor Wars being a movie, but that we've got Iron Heart.
Yes.
coming out in June 24th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's what's supposed to wrap up Phase 5.
Yes.
Of the MCU. I don't know if I'm really looking forward to that or not.
Yeah, I mean, her introduction in Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever was just so bad.
Meh. And that's what I say is the movie as a whole didn't float, and then for her to be introduced in it, and it was like kind of hit or miss. I felt it was kind of rushed, and that they just kind of threw her in there. So I don't really have a gauge on how I feel about her. So I'll give it a shot. You know, I'm not gonna be opposed to it. I don't have any. I
gave Secret Wars a shot.
I don't have any negative feelings towards the character. I don't have any positive feelings towards the character, and so I mean, they managed to turn me on Miss Marvel. So I honestly had negative feelings towards Miss Marvel, and I was like, you know what, not bad. I was just more grumpy they changed her powers, but whatever. Anyways, not
as much as Muse.
Yeah, I mean, what powers?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. We're reaching the end of a phase, which
it doesn't feel like the end of a phase.
That's what I was saying. Is like after phase 1, 2, and 3, it's just kind of been a blah.
We're just going to end it here for no reason.
Yeah, this is where it ends. I'm just like, do we even have a plan anymore, folks?
I don't think nobody's driving the ship.
No
one's. If Daredevil Born Again was anything, no one's driving. No one's steering. Feige's too tired or something.
Yeah.
He needs to give up the reins to somebody else.
Yep.
I would have loved for it to have been
properly vetted.
Yeah,
we do not want another what's his face situation.
Yeah.
The guy before
Rob
James
Schneider
Gunn.
Or
something. Zack Snyder. There it is. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, that's the show, everybody. We ran long on Daredevil. Sorry we couldn't talk in depth about what we've been watching. I've got a couple of things. I'll have more soon, but we're doing Andor next, and that's going to be a lot. There's going to be some long episodes because it's going to be 4 weeks of 3 episodes, 3 hours of content each, and trying to condense that down. But we'll get to our list of what we've been watching at some point. Yeah.
Anyways, give us any range reviews and 5 stars. And if you have any opinions on how this Daredevil season is, I'd love to hear them because I feel like it's a very interesting place for it to be after it's all said and done. And I also feel like a lot more people just like us, had higher hopes for it. And so, yeah.
I just can't believe that somebody watched it and was like, season 2, let's get it. Stupid.
Anyways, folks, thanks so much for listening. Bye.